What do you wish people would know before they kind of start working with interior designers?
And you're sitting there like a little child at the table.
Worst nightmare.
We went to have a look at a site in Borough Market and it was full of rats.
Just on his back legs looking at me going,
Oh my
I was
God.
like,
Pulling off bits of old carpet standing in sites in January when there's no heating and the cold.
don't follow trends. Everyone used to hate brutalism, do they? And now everyone's, oh my God, it's brutalism.
Interior design, it's not interior decoration. You can design a proper toilet, then you can design the next thing out of that.
If your design would be a cocktail, which one would it be? Welcome to Redeco Room, a podcast that uncovers the world of design. In today's episode, we sat down with Laura and Justin, who are the founders of Block One Design. They have designed some of the most exciting restaurants in London. And in our conversation, we talked about how to create an effortless and functional spaces in restaurants. And we also covered what to expect when working with an interior designer. What stood out the most to me were all the details that make a space truly work, things that you never notice until they're missing.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for coming. It's really such a delight to have you both coming. And so maybe a little bit of the intro round as well.
Yeah.
So maybe we start with you.
So I'm Laura. I'm one of the co-founders of Block One Design with Justin. Block One Design is 11 years old this year. So we've been around for a while at this stage.
We met at a previous agency and decided to go out on our own. And Laura actually hired me at the previous agency. She was my boss.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. And we were there for, it was just 1 year.
Just over a year, yeah. And then we decided to go out on our own and we started in Justin's spare room with one client and then just built...
And a dream.
One client and a dream. And then we just built project after project, built on, word of mouth, got a good social media presence, got a good Twitter. At the time, Twitter was really big. So we actually found some big clients that way and just worked really hard to try and build this brand and build this company.
Oh, wow. So, like in Block One Design, you specialize mostly in the restaurants and the commercial spaces. How did you get into the whole kind of like that industry?
We started off in retail. Our first client was retail. And at the previous agency we worked at was mostly retail. We did a little bit of restaurant, but it was mostly retail. And then when we started on our own, we had a retail customer, but then we wanted to get in restaurants. So we deliberately targeted people. And Laura, basically, for a big company, can we say a company?
Yeah, Fernando's.
It was Fernando's. And Laura found out who one of the project managers was on.
And just stalked him.
What was it called? On Twitter. And we just messaged him and he started liking us back. And then we messaged back and it took about a year.
Yeah, 6 months to a year.
And then we finally got an interview in front of, it was the head of design, wasn't it?
It was the head of design, yeah, and one of the founders. We had an interview with them, and they liked. We were quite small at the time, and we hadn't done a huge amount, but they really liked our ideas, and I think they really liked our drive.
We actually had done a concept for a Nando's when we arrived to the interview, so we had all these 3D visuals to show them, and an interpretation of what we think, how a Nando's could be and blah, 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 blah. And, it's quite interesting because at the time, I think they were kind of like, this isn't correct. But now when you look at Nando's, a lot of the ideas we had in it are in the Nando's now. So
maybe we were a bit ahead of our time. But I suppose with design, like, you kind of tend to specialize in residential or commercial. And I think we kind of fell into commercial more because when we first started our careers, that's what the studio did more so than residential. So you kind of then, your training gets honed into that side of things, so we end up, you become really good at space planning for restaurants, space planning for retail.
It's an architecture-led company that we started in. So this is where we developed our architectural side as well. Yeah.
So a lot of the work we do, well, as Justin says, a lot of how we work is really based in the fundamentals of how is this space going to work? How is it going to be built? How are we going to make it work for not just the customer, but for the actual staff working there? Justin works in hospitality for 20 years. So that's a really good insight because it gives us the kind of back of house knowledge as well, that we can't put this here because somebody's going to have to run, halfway across the restaurant and back just to service that one section. So that's a huge part of how we design as well.
But if we dive a little bit deeper as well, like what are the main differences between the residential design and the commercial design?
I would say the biggest thing is the time on each project. A residential project can go a year, 2 years, for a really high-end residential. A restaurant, we can be on site for only 5 weeks, 6 weeks. So the design process is sped up a billion times. Then is all the regulations you have to know because it's used by the public. So everything has to have the right regulations and the right fire regulations and the right, you have to specify the right materials and the right electrical materials, and everything like this has to be, you have to know all of those kind of aspects of all the stuff that you wouldn't find interesting. You have to know. It becomes second nature, even to the height of chairs and tables and stools and benches. They're all certain height. Everything has to be certain height. And you'll see it sometimes. You go into a restaurant that's been designed by someone that doesn't really know what they're doing, and you go to sit down, the chair's too low for the table, and you're sitting there like a little child at the table, and it's really uncomfortable. So these are the things that you should know. And that, but it is, the main thing is it's the time. It's the time. We don't have the luxury of time, because people start paying their lease. They might get a rent-free period, but they need to start earning money. So, yeah.
But then do you kind of already have like a concept and you start working on the projects beforehand? So like basically once you get into the building, you're like execution only?
So we have, no, we have to come up with the concept. We come up with all the concept. So normally we meet the client, they give us a kind of a brief of what they want, and then we'll put together a concept presentation. It might be 50, 60, 70 images, and we 3 on a page, and then we will send it to them and we'll ask them to just mark what they like in each photo, what they hate in each photo, if they like a photo, if they don't like a photo, and then we can then refine it down and get an idea of where their starting point may be. So rather than just throwing options at them that they're not going to understand. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
We also, because timeframes are so short, we have to be completely ready with everything when it goes on site. Everything's signed off, all the materials ordered, everything, everything we specify, we have to make sure we don't specify something beautiful that's going to take 12 weeks to come from Italy, because by that stage the restaurant will be open. So it all depends on budget, time, and what the concept is. So we have to have all the drawings done, the planning, everything ready to go, the builders appointed, and as Justin says, all the regulations met and approved, because there's no point designing something that the building control officer is going to come in and say, sorry, you can't open.
It'll even start off like before. The first thing we always ask, is there an asbestos report on the building? Because builders won't go into it without an asbestos report. So on several occasions we've looked at sites that clients want to take, and I just look up and you can see it's full of asbestos. It hasn't been touched since the 60s. So to remove all that is a really expensive cost. So the first thing we always say, can't get an asbestos report. If there's not an asbestos report, there's no use touching the building. And then we kind of go from there. So
we do have established clients who we've got good relationships with over the years, and they now can say to us, look, I'm thinking about this site here. Will you guys go and take a quick look? And immediately we can say that's out of your budget. Don't touch it. It's because you need new floors, ceilings, shop front, everything. So there's nothing in there you can retain. So I wouldn't, for the money you have to spend.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What is like the worst nightmare that you kind of came up in a project? Probably it's like that made you learn the most out of the whole thing.
Never really trust the survey drawings sometimes, because you get your plans done, and then when you get on site, all of a sudden there's a structural column in the middle of the place that you didn't realise was there. So you have to, on site then, completely redesign elements of the build that, while still staying on time, while still staying on programme, that can be difficult.
I think for me is having a good team of contractors. It took us a long time to find contractors we could trust. Now we have 3 or 4 that we would always recommend. Early on, we had bad luck with contractors and walked out on sites who ripped clients off. So we were very reluctant to even recommend clients until we built a proper relationship with. And so, as I said, we have about 4 or 5 proper companies that would never let us down. But before that, some of the things that happened people stole clients' money and left, and it was quite, yeah.
Oh my God. I only heard crazy stories on the residential side when people do it as like when they renovate their own places, and then, but it seems to be.
There's lots. And sometimes clients will, even though you might have gone through concept and 3D visuals and, this is what the space is going to look like, halfway through the build, they'll walk in and go, I don't really know. I didn't think it would look like this. And you're like, well, it does. So then you might have to make on the moment changes to things. I think one of the most nightmarish things we ever had was we went to have a look at a site in Borough Market, and it was full of rats. Like the floor moved. It was so full of.
It wasn't the ground floor. There was a trapdoor, and the client wanted to build into the basement, like a storage facility down there. And so I went down on a ladder, and it was all under Borough Market. The whole of under Borough was it went forever. Yeah.
No.
And I thought, what's moving? And I turned a light, and it was like Raiders of the Lost Ark. The whole ground was running over, and there was this big rat with a white chest just on his back legs looking at me going,
oh my God.
Like,
yeah.
It was horrendous.
God.
And they said when they were building the chamber down there was just rats coming out of the walls everywhere. So,
oh my God.
It's one of the things you learn, that you stomp. You wear heavy boots the first time you go on site, and you stomp.
So they go away.
But you can always smell when there's been rats. There's a smell.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I mean, people think that our job is really glamorous, but most of it is climbing on roofs and looking at grease traps and, pulling off bits of old carpet, standing in sites in January when there's no heating and the cold.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
We love it, though.
But especially with London as well, like it's such an old city. There are so many legacy things that probably haven't been touched for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
We're big at, like when we design a restaurant or a space, we go into a building that is old and we unearth something, we retain it, we don't get rid of it. We try to keep any original features and add them into the design. We were quite passionate about that rather than removing them.
It's quite important to us that, if there is something there, that we incorporate it into the design, or we can replicate it, or we can do it in an authentic way. So if it is an old Victorian, like high street shop, and it has a beautiful tiled facade, we're keeping all of that, and then it adds to the design, because it feels like you're bringing something from the building's past into it, and then you're just bringing it forward and keeping it alive, really.
Oh yeah.
And it adds then to the client's joy of the place, I think.
Oh, definitely. But coming back more to your own studio, how, if you would use 3 words in terms of how would you actually describe your own style, and how would you be kind of...
We had 3 different words.
We had 3 different words. I've written mine down because I can't remember them. So my words were connected, meaning you can't do a design unless it's connected to the space or its environment or the architecture of the building. Otherwise, it's going to look like a Disney-themed restaurant. It's not going to make any sense. So every time you design something, you need to look at where it sits, what kind of architecture it's got, and try to make some kind of reference back to that into your design. The other one would be longevity. Use materials that are going to last. So in a week's time, you're not going to go back and it's falling apart. Our big thing is never put paint where people can touch it, because you go to a lot of restaurants and they'll have a painted wall near the table and it'll be got ketchup stains on it, or it's got this and it's dirty, and it just looks messy. You can never make it look neat or clear. And the third one would be timeless. Never choose something that's going to date. So never design anything that's going to be dated in a year's time.
How would you describe what it would be then timeless?
Don't follow trends.
The trends. So sometimes there'll be, all the tiles during London or Clerkenwell Design Week, all of the studios, like the tile studios in particular, will have their new range, and there might be one particularly beautiful tile, and then you will see it in every single restaurant.
Colour of the year.
Yeah, you'll see it in every single restaurant the following year, and then that really dates it.
The restaurant is really out of date.
You can say that restaurant was completed in 2015 because it has that particular type of tile. So we try and avoid that kind of thing. My words are similar. I was saying the same thing, I think, as Justin. So I've said authentic, which ties back to it has to feel right, and it has to be authentic to the brand and the building and the space. So, how can we make that space feel, that we're not just shop fitting something into, like jamming it into a space. It has to feel like it's actually meant to be there. Refined in that we have a great saying in our studio, too many showstoppers. So sometimes a design, you'll have all these ideas and you put them all in to start, and then you say, right, there's too much going on in here. Pull it out. We don't need that. Let's make it more polished. And then considered, as we were talking earlier, everything's considered. How the walls are treated, how people move through the space, where the kitchen doors, what direction the kitchen door goes in. So that if someone's coming in and out, they're not going to bash into someone, that it'll all flow and move. So everything is fully considered, down to, how are all the drawers on soft closers in the dining room? Are the drawers felt lined so cutlery doesn't clang? Things like that. We go to that minute detail. Yeah.
It's everything. All the lights on separate dimmer switches. What colour are the lights? Everything has to be considered.
Of course, especially probably based on the size of the even windows, you probably put different types of lighting in.
Yeah, and also if a restaurant needs to go from day to evening, it's a big factor in how you do that without it looking like you're still sitting in a fluorescent.
Yeah, we had one project in an old building in the city. It's a cafe, and then it turns into a wine bar in the evening. So they're open from 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. So we had to really consider the light. The lighting really was what the key there was, to transform it from a very bustling, bright, active coffee shop during the day to something that felt quite cool and refined and a little bit more atmospheric at night. And it worked really well, And we used 3 or 4 different types of lighting in the space. So they can, as Justin said, they can use dimmers, they can move things up, they can move things down. And then in this country, in the winter, it gets dark at 4 p.m., right? Yeah. So you have to consider, how is this space going to look in the afternoon as well as the morning? So
is it the project called Where's Fred?
Yeah.
It's
have you been there?
I love this place. And it's actually like one of the ones that I wanted to bring up, because there are like 2 specific things. When I saw on your website, I'm just like, I cannot believe that you did that.
Yeah.
One of them Where's Fred's, and the other one is 26 grains.
That's our first one.
Yeah, we did 2 26 grains.
Yeah, we did 2. One in Borough Market, which isn't there anymore, and then the one in Neal's
Yard. Yeah.
And they're both like exactly like concept based, but at the same time they're so merged together with the environment where they're around.
And that was the important.
That was important. This is what we said. So Where's Fred's? That was a grade 2 listed building. We couldn't even put a hole in the wall without permission from the council. So, it's got
grade 1 listed.
Grade 1, it was super, super listed, basically.
They film, it's a Jordan kind of square. They film a lot of period movies in that area. So everything is...
Yeah. So we had to work very closely with the council. We had to work very closely with the landlord. We had to work very closely with London City Historical Society as well. So, and the client. Yeah. To make sure that Chelsea, she still had her vision and had the space she wanted, but also that it wasn't compromising the building and that everybody was happy.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like both of them are so merged together with the cuisine as well, what they're offering.
That comes down to it. I mean, when we say we refine our design, we'll ask the client, what size plate are you going to be serving your food on?
That's one of the first questions, actually, because we need to, first we'll say, how many covers do you need to be operational? How many, and then they'll tell us, and then we'll say, well, how big is your biggest plate and how many dishes will be on a table at once? And then we can work out the size of the table, and then we can work out how many tables will fit in the restaurant. There's nothing worse, again, if you go to a restaurant and there's no room for the plates, they keep bringing them and you there's no room.
Oh, yeah.
Like 26 grains, it's Scandinavian based. So the colour palette then followed that, and then the type of, the type of wood, but then it's all just a kitchen.
Yes.
So we said, right, well, let's use the bifolds to our full advantage here, so that when you opened up the door, the outside came in as well, which is part of the concept too.
Oh, yeah. But also like that huge, like big table in the middle that everyone just gathers around.
Yeah.
And it feels like you either know people or you don't. You meet them at that table, and it's such a
communal experience.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's very interesting, actually. Those communal tables work really well in London or kind of larger cities. Not so much kind of when you go into more suburbs. People love to sit in booths.
Oh.
See, because also in London, people were happy to sit at a bar and eat, like at a counter, whereas other places, but it never used to be like that, because we used to always do bar dining and everyone would be like, But now I'm happy to sit at the bar and
Yes.
eat.
I like sitting at the bar.
As long as it's comfortable, it's done properly. Again, it's about to do with heights and comfortable stools. If you're sitting at the bar and the stool's too low and you're not comfortable, then no, it's not a good experience. But
or sometimes as well, if you are sitting dining and they're cooking behind, is there some small little divide you can still see in, but you don't need to see any of the mess. That's always our thing.
Yes.
Like open plan kitchens are great, but you don't want to see the wash up, right? So we still have to hide all these things. So it's all about the theatre, what you do see and what you don't see.
Oh, wow. Probably it's much more complicated to do the open kitchen planning.
Yeah.
Because it has to be constantly presentable.
Yeah. Anything that the customer can see has to be finished beautifully.
it's normally the last bit, really. It's normally like the prepping, the finishing off as the plates go out, like an open hatch. So we try not to recommend doing a...
We don't mind. It's some kind of like a dining, it depends on the concept and it depends on how, like steak, for example, that's greasy and sizzly. So just maybe a little view into the kitchen is all you need. You don't need the whole thing open because...
And also chefs get angry and sweaty and they've been working all day. The customer doesn't need to hear everything going on as well.
A big thing about that as well is that you need a different type of light in the kitchen than you do in the dining room, right? So they need the bright, functional task lighting in the kitchen, and then you want to have a more warm, kind of lower level lighting in the main dining room.
Flood into the
but if you have a completely open kitchen, it's like opening a fridge at night time. It just floods the place with white light, and that's not what you want. That's something we've learned from experience. Because you designed a restaurant and you're like, what is that? And you're like, oh yeah, okay.
Oh my God.
Right, we need to diffuse that.
But did you manage to then like put some barriers in? Or
So we were able to put screens in, and we were able to put films and gels on the light that was going to be bleeding out into the restaurant. But then next time, how open is the kitchen? What are we going to see? The light in that area needs to be different. So you work with the electricians and the light suppliers for that one.
Some kind of gantry or bulkhead, so the customer sitting down doesn't see the lights in the kitchen. There's a block from the ceiling.
Because otherwise it would be like a theater scene.
It's like an operating theatre. It's too much.
Oh wow. There's, as you say, there's so many moving
parts. Yeah.
Wow.
And then you've got to, and then we always say sometimes when you're on site, you're actually just like a peacekeeper, because one trade will be arguing with another trade and somebody else will be giving out, we
have a name for it. We call it the hot potato. So when something goes wrong on site, no one wants to admit whose fault it is. Yeah. So Laura and I call it the hot potato, and they're bouncing around trying to blame everyone, and we just step back and say, oops, it's dropped. I don't know.
So you just find yourself saying, listen, we all have the same goal. We're all trying to get to the same place. Everyone appreciates that things can get delayed and bowls can get dropped, but here we are now, so how are we moving forward? And that kind of gets everyone simmered down a little bit.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
But especially like if you have such tight deadlines as well.
Yeah, because
it's kind of just...
The client doesn't want to move their opening because they'll have
press line,
they'll have press, they'll have their staff, they'll have their kitchen, they'll have their supplies. So we worked on a very big restaurant there in South Kensington, and the chefs, they had to have the kitchen before the rest of the restaurant was finished. So they were downstairs cooking fish, and the guys were upstairs trying to finish off all the fine details.
Because he was a Michelin star chef, and he's supposed to.
Yeah.
Oh, because they needed to try out all the plates.
They needed, because to make their opening. So they needed 3 weeks of prep.
Wow.
And the project was running over because so many things happened. The project was running over because of floor that didn't arrive. All these kind of different things happen. Or somebody changes some element of it, or the marble supplier should have had that, but then the piece got broken, all the different things. So, but the chefs were like, no, we need to get in. So they were downstairs. So there was fresh mussels being delivered to site, and the lads are like, I don't know what this is.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So probably all the crew got like really good food for those couple of weeks probably.
Yeah.
Wow. What is from your perspective, who is like kind of in the middle of it all when you're designing is it like a client, and how do you want to make them feel, or how would it?
We're in the middle of it all because we've got to bring the client with us. They don't understand all the ins and outs of the industry. The contractor is employed, the project manager and us really are the ones fielding all the questions, all the problems, trying to, problem solve on the spot.
And being on site when builders aren't sure of something, and and trying to replace materials that have come in too expensive or they haven't come in time, and just things like that. With newer clients, it's sometimes not as hard. It's harder with clients that have had several restaurants, so they can be more demanding because they know the process. So, but you also establish relationships with these clients because you're with them for 6 months almost.
Yeah.
From first meeting them, and then the initial concepts, and then the drawings, and then everything. It's a process, So there's some clients we've had since we started. So new clients, you always ask them. We do now what their budget is and what kind of building they're looking at, because if they go for say, for example, these new buildings, the shell, an empty shell, a new building, it's way expensive just to fit it out, because you have to put all these heat recovery systems, and you have to do this. The landlords don't provide anything. And the time you put everything in, their budget's gone before they can even design it.
Yeah.
So
because the constructural things.
Because of all the requirements that those landlords want. So if you were going to, for your first restaurant, I would say going to a high street shop or something that's been existing before, and something preferably that's had some kind of extraction or something in it, because especially in central London, trying to get planning for extraction in Soho and Covent Garden, it's an impossibility of Westminster now.
Yeah.
So that also brings up so many problems. People want a space, but there's nowhere to extract the cooking. And there's no place to put the AC condensers outside.
Of course.
So they become issues, and if you can't do it, you can't do it. So these are the kind of things we always try to advise clients. Yeah. We're very honest with clients. And especially new clients, we don't want to see someone lose all their money.
What do you wish people would know before they kind of start working with interior designers?
I think what I wish they'd know is just how much goes into it, how involved it is. I think sometimes it's the invisible background work that clients don't kind of understand. Also, I think what I'd like people to know is that interior design, it's not interior decoration. Yeah. It's not just fabric and, cushion covers. It's proper space planning. It's proper detailed design. It's, proper...
AutoCAD drawings. Could be 80 pages of drawings, plans, elevations, details, especially for restaurants. We'll always design our own banquet seating. So that has to be detailed. Then we may design lighting. That has to be detailed. The waiter stations, the bars, how the bar is going to function, all has to be done in detail. And those details could be 20 pages, just the details for the bar.
Because if you don't detail it properly, the guy making it will kind of fill in the blanks himself.
The quickest way.
Quickest way.
And the wrongest way.
And then you'll arrive on site and you're going, why are there no power sockets in the bar? And they're like, oh, well, did we want them? And you're just going, oh, gosh, okay.
Yeah. So if we don't specify everything, contractors will just do what they think. And sometimes it can be So we have to make sure we specify every single thing and don't miss a thing. Yeah. Because if we miss it, then it can come back onto us. So I don't think people realize. I think people think interior design is walking and say, paint that wall green, or that sofa there. It's the design part is the least part of it. Yeah. The rest of it is all technical and all staying on top of the build and managing people and managing expectations and looking after clients. And
sometimes you're a client therapist because they'll have a wobble. They'll always have a wobble and go, oh, it's
spending a lot of money.
It's okay. Trust us. We know what we're doing. Yeah. And also I think if you engage an interior designer, trust them, trust their vision, or trust their opinion. People engage interior designers, and then
they become an interior designer,
or they'll have a friend whose mom,
whose mum's daughter's friend, blah, blah, is said that she thinks that should be yellow, and it's like, well, where does she study? How does she know? And we've actually been to meetings with clients in a boardroom, and some junior on work experience, they ask them their opinion. So we could be working on something for months and months and months, and then we sit there listening to this opinion. We're like, why?
I think they're just. I think they just get scared. So the client gets scared, and they'll come back in and go, "Oh, I was talking to someone at the weekend, and they think the bar should be on this side." And you're like, "Well, that's a great opinion, but
the plumbing's
all on this side, so we can't do that." Oh, okay. And, you know, oh, well, I'm not sure about this colour. And I asked
They
someone.
get scared if they haven't seen something before.
Yeah.
If they've never seen it before, like a lot of them want us to do things they've seen.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like we have to push them and just say, well, no, it looks like a Costa coffee, or it looks like this. So we have to push them and change it and shock them. And we've had it
We've
with
got to push them, yeah. So sometimes
a client at the moment that we've worked with for years pushed. They came in with a look. They want to refurb a restaurant they have already. They can look, and then we already had a different look for them. They said, no, we think you should change it like this. And they're, wow, okay, yeah. So you have to have ideas to show them. So
they'll see some Pinterest is. They'll see something on Pinterest and say, I want it to look like this. And you're going, yeah, but that's a New York warehouse, and this is a London basement. It's just not going to look like that. We can take elements. We can incorporate maybe a colour or a material, but you're not going to get that look.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes we always say 3D renders can be a double-edged sword because it's a 3D program. It's actually not going to fully look like that at the end, but they'll hold it up in one hand and then look at the space and go, I thought we were going to have this here or that here. You know, a big one, we designed this beautiful gantry for a bar. And then in reality, when it was built, it had to have some structural elements to it. And the client was going crazy. And it's like, well, there's no gravity in a 3D program. So of course it's hanging on 2 bars that you can't, you know, that's just a reference. This is an approximation. But because they have the 3D, then they're like, oh, this is exactly what I'm getting.
Yeah.
That can be difficult.
But I think like also on the other side of the coin, given that you're such experts and you kind of know what works, what doesn't, how would you give like an advice to somebody who kind of starts to look for an interior designer for a commercial space? Like, what are the red flags? What are the green flags when they're hiring someone and starting to work with someone?
I would say look at their catalogue of work, what they've done, and if they've done similar things to what you're after, like in the same kind of category, whether it's a cafe or a small shop or a big restaurant, or have a look at all their work and go and visit some of it. Go and have a look at it and see how it's put together. And because
it's saged
things can photograph well, but you know, it's in reality they can look
could
rubbish.
be just one beautiful corner, and then in reality you're like, ooh, this isn't great. I would say as well, meet them. You know, ask and when you first contact them, ask for a meeting. If they're willing to come along to a meeting, that means they're, you know, engaged. And just get a sense. I mean, a lot of this is down to personal relationships as well. You have to be able to get on with people. You have to be able to be kind of just quite not no nonsense, but personable. You know, there's a lot of jargon in design, and people I think can feel intimidated by designers sometimes because, you know, the language we use. We kind of try our best not to do that with clients and be very straightforward and say, look, this is who we are. This is how we work. You know, take us or leave us, I suppose.
We do try to be very down to earth and connect on a proper level rather than being on a pretentious level.
Yeah.
So, and like I often go to meetings in shorts and I'm covered in tattoos and stuff like shorts and people will be in suits. I don't care. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't care. I'm not here to be fancy dress or, you know, and people kind of respect that. It takes the pressure away. You know, it really does take the pressure away.
Normal speaking, like, you know, talking to clients, just not pretentiously. You can talk about when you're describing the concept and you're describing how it's going to work, you know, then the language we use is kind of just the language we use as designers. But in your everyday interactions, if they have a concern, listen to it. If they need to be coaxed through a little bit more, you know, and if they have an opinion you don't agree with, just, you know, say that's a good idea. But, you know, maybe, as we said last week, it might not work because, do you remember, you know, kind of talk them back into your way without making them feel like they're silly.
We always do say though that it is a collaboration with them. They're the ones going to be using the space. We're not using the space. We can give them our best design and our best advice and our best layouts of how we think things should be. They don't necessarily need to take that. And sometimes they don't. And sometimes they want things changed and they change and change. And then the finished result is the design is never fully executed. And there's always going to be problems, and they will get us back and say, this isn't working, we need to change it. And it was always something that was changed.
Yeah.
So you can, to an extent, you can kind of push it. Sometimes you really have to push it and just say it's not going to work.
Yeah.
not going to work. And then show them examples why it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, and even physically, sometimes you have to draw it out on the floor and say, okay, if I'm standing here and you're standing here, nobody can pass us. Do you understand now? And they're like, oh, okay, you know, or they'll get that better. And there's no point telling them, I told you so, because they know they've finished their restaurant and it's not working how it should be. But we always say to them, look, we're going to be leaving at handover. You've got to inhabit this space. You've got to feel comfortable in it. So all the way along, we check back in. Are you happy with everything? Are you happy with the way things are going? Are you happy with this element? And it could be some things have to be tweaked as we go along. And that's just the nature of it. Sometimes you go in and the space is, you know, a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, a little bit taller than we planned for. So we just adjust as we go.
Oh, wow. It feels like a therapeutic journey along
it is.
the way.
Yeah.
And like
It could be, depending who the client is. Some clients are lovely and will leave you be, and you know, have the meetings and you show them design, they love it and they let you do it, and they're all the ways the jobs that we get nominated awards for.
Yeah.
You know, because they've let you do the vision and they've trusted you. The ones that interfere and change things and do this and that, it still will be okay, but it will never be
fully realised.
Yeah.
There's so many
facets and so many different...
You've got to really learn how to read a client very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
So,
as to what you're able to get away with saying to them. And what you're not allowed to say to them.
As Justin said, like the actual design is maybe 10% of the job. You know, the rest is managing client relationships, managing problem solving, you know, and those, maybe it's a bit more than 10%.
Oh, I don't know, it's probably on this.
What is your kind of like the project that you absolutely loved?
It changes as we finish things sometimes. So one that might be your favourite for a few years then kind of slips down. The one I really like at the moment is Templar in Stratford Cross. We've just finished. That one is actually nominated for an SBID award this year. Vote, please.
Yeah, we can put that up as well.
It's down. We've been shortlisted now to the top 10, was it?
Yeah, shortlisted to the top 10.
But now it's down to public vote. So you have to go on and do a public vote, everyone, please.
Concept was Italian small plates, but we didn't want to do a typical Italian Trocadero type kind of pastiche restaurant. So we looked at like classic modern Italian design, like mid-century modern, but really, really honed down into it with chrome and glass bricks and beautiful colour palettes of blues.
The floor is a terrazzo, but it was sourced in England by a company that crushes up buildings and makes terrazzo.
Yeah, so it's
sustainable floor. Then the railings, like the banisters and rails, are based on a mid-century Italian, I can't remember where I found it, almost a brutalist kind of design, but we made them a powder blue. So it's so then you've got concrete floors and these powder blue railings, and then
the space is quite small, and it was a double height core. It was a core and shell, so it was just concrete walls in a new development.
Which I was saying before.
And so we had to make it feel warm and inviting. So the materials we chose were really important, and the big feature in it is this beautiful horse-shaped bar with marble top on it, and you know, again, it came down to the detailing, like how exactly is this? How is the edges going to, when you put your hand on it, when you're sitting here, like it lips up slightly so your plate won't fall onto your lap, things like that.
And the detail even on the front of the bar is how it's lit, so you can see all the detail on the bar. And then there was a wine room on the mezzanine, and then right down to the chairs, which were based on authentic chairs. Every inch of it.
Every considered. And like the lighting in that was considered down to, you know, we wanted the bar to glow. And so we have beautiful stainless steel arched back on the back bar, but then that's uplit with trays rather than LEDs. So because there's mirror behind the bar, you don't see these dots. So everything is just glowing. That's my favourite at the moment.
I'm just like, just fascinated by listening to all those different things.
Also, another one is we've started doing a Korean beauty store called Moeda. And we did the first one in Westfield, and we've just done one Charing Cross, and we're doing one in Manchester at the moment.
Yeah.
And that was completely conceived by us. So the whole design, they came to us looking for a new design that would appeal to girls from age of 15 to 30, basically. They had a competitor that kept popping up beside them and trying to steal all their customers because they had a brand already. And so we thought, let's go for it. So we designed all the fixtures, the lighting, single thing in there. We even got tiles made in the brand colours, and they've just stolen all the customers back.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, and they're doing really, really well.
It's quite exciting as well because it's completely different
When they
conceptually
opened
to
up, they
everything.
had people sleeping down in tents down Charing Cross Road.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
and that hasn't
at
happened since
Westfield, there was
Apple.
a queue
Yeah.
for about a kilometre out for Westfield.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's totally different. It's completely like, and that's actually the joy as well of what we do, really, because there are things we both like, but then maybe the client, maybe that's not what's called for the brand, you know. So we have to consider it. So
Yeah, we have to adjust. That's a good point. We have to adjust our taste sometimes. Sometimes we think this is terrible taste. Do you get that? But you know, we have to adjust it, and but we can make it better. You
Yeah.
know, which is what we've done with some other when we've taken over chains and stuff. We've seen their initial thing and we've made it better.
yeah,
But sometimes it's difficult because
it might not be what you personally would be drawn to.
yeah.
But you have to then take a step back and say, right, designer hat on, let's make the best version of this that we can. And maybe, you know, we'll get to just like slide something in here and there.
And
once
you
they trust you.
slowly make it better, just
Yeah.
better materials and better quality material,
Oh, yeah.
things like that, and maybe bring the colours down a little bit. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or using the colour in a different way. I mean, everyone always, at the moment with the last couple of designs we've done, big into ceilings. There's always, you know, why don't we do something different with the ceiling and not just treat it like a blank with that we've put some lights on, you know? We like position things correctly, drop things, push things up. Maybe a different colour, maybe colour drench everything. It makes it a little bit more interesting, I think, especially in retail, fast food, because we do a variety of things. So you've got your passion ones like, as we said, Templar, which was a long time. We were working on it for a lot of months. But then we also work with grab and go brands. So as they will have very quick turnarounds, and we tend to develop a palette, and this is what we're going to go with. And it's a completely different way of designing as you would if you're sitting in a
it's
restaurant.
like speed kind of moved
But
on, but you see, we're always ahead of what is happening. Do you know?
Oh,
So-
yes.
and I'm very, very
He's quite good at
So I am-
forecasting.
Oh.
So, for example, when I went to university, I did my dissertation on brutalist architecture. Now, brutalism is massive. Everyone used to hate brutalism, you know? And now everyone's, oh my God, it's brutalism, the Barbican and this, and it's amazing. So it's the same kind of thing. So it was like, at the time, it was all industrial and blah, blah, blah. Everything was industrial. And now it came, everything was mid-century Scandinavian for ages. But we have already moved on for that. We're in our postmodern era, and we're like, and modernism. And now even actually reflect, going back, we even go to neoclassical. We look into neoclassical. And I'm also in my Napoleonic Empire era at the moment. So where I'm researching things like that and looking for details, and I'll go to museum. So it just changed. I bought a sofa like 6 months ago. It's the most uncomfortable sofa in the world. It's like 150 years old, and it's got little sphinxes on it.
It's not for sitting
clawed
on.
feet, and it's got a bit of woodworm in it and everything.
Yeah.
But I love it. But yeah, it's all about, for me, it's detail. I'll see detail in anything. I just see something. We designed a whole retail store around an underground car park pillar. So I saw this pattern on this pillar. And then when I was in, before we did Gunpowder One Tower Bridge, that was our first really big restaurant.
Yeah.
I was in India, in Mumbai, and there was a bit of bitumen lifted off the road, and underneath was this old tile. So I took a photo of it, and then when we came back, we had it made. And so the walls are covered with this old tile. So it's a connection because it's an Indian restaurant. So it's a kind of a connection. So you find it everywhere. Do you know?
Yeah.
You don't need to look on Pinterest and look at other people's ideas. You just need to see something, a little chip of paint somewhere.
Yeah.
Even walking in here, that there's a wall outside where the paint's peeled off
and
and
they've
it's
got the
red.
textile.
Yeah.
I was looking at that too.
I've just done that to my stairs at home.
Yeah.
But that's that colour in that reddy colour in that with the paint peel is beautiful to me.
Yeah.
And you could replicate that and think, okay, this is. So it's like that's where it comes from for me especially, and it could be like an old architectural feature on a building, or just something in an old book, just a pattern or a colour.
So what is usually like? How do because you mentioned so many different things. So you're kind of trying to grab onto all those.
we have a folder that we both put stuff in. So we collect ideas. We try and collect things as we're going, and it might not fit what we're working on right now, but sometime in the future, that little nugget will come back.
Yeah. So when we start a project and we get a bit stuck, we'll go through that and think, this.
And as Justin says, it could be, you could be in Paris and somebody's wearing a really cool jacket that has really ornate, like sharp folds or something in it. So you're like, okay, well that could actually, that's quite cool. That might work with this new Japanese concept we have, things like that. Or it's just bricks in the ground, patterns. We try not to like collect other people's ideas. We try and collect snippets and materials or images for inspiration that we can put things in.
You walk past something, you just see it and just take a photo or so.
Yeah.
So basically, it's not like a special ritual. It's just like constantly all the time.
Yeah, you're just constantly all the time taking pictures of things. It drives my husband crazy. You're like, oh, and he's like, no, I just need to take it 1 minute. And you're running back to look at something.
Wow. But in a way, like, how do you also see, like, because it feels like now we're in the era where all different styles are in at the same time, or
I kind of like that.
Still...
I like, it's better because sometimes, fully embracing trends or fully embrace. I remember there was a time when everything was pink and everything was green.
Forest green and pink.
Yeah, forest green and pink. And, what do we do with pink? And you're like, I can't actually look at pink again. I do understand, though, if people aren't visual and people aren't,
Well, this is where Pinterest, although it's very helpful, can also you because people just see the same things over and over.
Yeah.
And so it's not broadening horizons, so to speak.
So, you can be true to what you like yourself, like, especially when it comes to your home in particular. Just what do you like? Doesn't forget about trends, forget about what's on Pinterest, forget about what's the colour of the year. If you like that, but do it.
Because my house,
because you've got to live in it.
For example, my house it's 360 years old, and it's Georgia, and it's full to the brim of antiques. Like I collect art and antiques, and it's not a big place, but that's not how I design. I design current and modern. Yeah. But how I choose to live, and you might move into a new place, and you'd be looking for a sideboard or a dining room table. Don't go to a big brand to do it. Spend time going to a car boot or an online secondhand place or anywhere, and it could take you a year, but you'll keep that piece for the rest of your life. Yeah. You'll have it forever. And you searched it, you found it. Now it belongs to you. You're part of its history. Yeah. When you just buy some flat piece, what's it giving you? It's not giving you anything. Oh, wow. So... Yeah, that's what you're right. So, source things that you love. There's nothing in my house that's new. Nothing.
Like antique or, as you say, mid-century is really big. If you're really into that, get the sideboard. Yeah. You'll have it forever. Yeah.
And then someone else will have it. Don't get a fake one from a flat pack one. Yeah. Go and find an original one.
Yeah. And again, it's sustainable, right? Because these things... You're not adding to landfill. You're reusing something beautiful and that's been crafted.
Not made out of chipboard full of carcinogenics, which is adding to causes of cancer and all other things we don't know about.
And environmentally, products that travel forever. We've been really trying recently to look at guest sourcing things that are closer to home because the environmental impact. Construction is one of the biggest environmental contributors to environmental, disasters, catastrophes that there is. So, and it can be quite wasteful.
We're working on a new Japanese restaurant at the moment. He wants to source everything locally, and he also wants the design to be sourced from the UK. Yeah. And it's quite clever because we are finding amazing things that work. And even he showed me a lot of ceramics that night. I introduced it. Well, didn't introduce him because he said, I told him about Bernard Leach, which is England's one of the famous potters from the mid-century, and he went and studied in Japan and brought the techniques back to the UK. Oh, yes. So it's all that mid-century kind of pottery. So, and then we're finding connections through that, and then we're finding people that make tiles in this country. And
so it might cost a little more, but by the time it actually gets here, it's and the person's in the country, so they're on hand if there's any issues. And so, it's definitely
more and more.
We're doing it more and more, and a lot of builds and a lot of landlords are requiring that a certain percentage are sustainably sourced materials.
Oh yeah, of course.
And that's where that floor in Templar came from. Yeah. Because we wanted to use terrazzo, and then we found this these people that they get rubble And so there's only limited runs of the colour because it depends how much was in the building that was stored.
Yeah.
Of course.
For gunpowder, we sourced an old dentist cabinet as the host station.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my
We've done that,
God.
and we did that for as well as
Yeah, we sourced an old cabinet. For, yeah.
But do you then go to like different like antique stores and car booths and things
Yeah,
I'm
like
a
that's
massive
Justin's.
collector.
Okay.
I have I follow a lot of people online, like
Yeah.
big companies and stuff online, and
Yeah.
I'll go through and flick through their things,
wow.
and then I kind of always know what I want. I just need to find it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. But I love that's the challenge of it. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, because I
You
think
need patience for that part that I
It's my
don't.
favourite. We did.
I don't have as much
The
as
restaurant we just did. Sorry to interrupt. The restaurant we just did in South Kensington. I sourced Greek antiquities, like thousands of years old. So they're on the shelves, and then even going further on, we found little fossils to go on the tables and stuff.
God.
And all that was me spending hours and hours and hours just little statues and little bits of terracotta and things and bowls and
Yeah.
it's so fascinating as well because I spend quite a lot of time with the traders who are like actually going to Europe and going to all the different
Yeah.
places and bringing it back. But it seems like they also kind of follow and try to like bring in new different things. Like
Yeah.
at one point, like I was speaking to one of the traders and he went to Germany and he's like Germany and Denmark with like very specific ceramics. And then I looked at it, I'm like, interesting, but I wouldn't see it. And then like 3 months later, all of this
Everywhere.
kind of like,
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because everyone wants the new thing. So I think once a trend or when something's really popular and when it becomes saturated, then what else is out there?
But I think that's the important thing. You buy what you like. It's like I go to markets in France and Spain, and I'm a big collector of religious iconography for some reason. I don't know where it came from. And I collect really old statues, wooden statues and things. I've even got a cross that's higher than the ceiling leaning off an old church in France. At the same time, on my dining room table, I've got a massive camel, and at the end, I've got one of those old games from Farm Fair with the clown that turns his head and you have to put the ball down.
Yeah.
Just on the dining room table. You can't even eat at the dining room table.
No, the dining room table is just for decoration.
Yeah.
so you live in the museum.
Yeah.
You know,
Museum.
And then you walk
he
into
does.
another room, there's like really old antiques from such and such, and it all doesn't make sense, but it makes sense, it all works.
Yeah.
Let's say.
oh my God, this is so cool.
Yeah.
At the same time, like, so many people don't get to visualize all of this. And and then it's kind of like, because I had like personally when it just like kind of putting the living room even together, not complicated, nothing else, but I'm like, oh, this could be looking good here because the light hits this way, something simple, and then I talk to like either my partner or somebody else, and then they don't get it at all, and then I'm just like, oh wow, I didn't realize that some people cannot.
No, they can't see anything
at all. Because I see everything.
Yes.
So I walk into a space. And I have an image. I know what it should look like straight away. It's gone. It doesn't happen always, but most of the times it happens. And then we collaborate and get to it. But then when you're trying to describe the client after weeks and weeks and you've got drawings and elevations, they still can't visualize it. Even sometimes if you give them a 3D render, they still can't visualize it.
That's just not how people's brains work.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting how people see things.
Yeah, I know even with decorating my own house, I just have to say, trust me. When it's halfway finished, my husband sometimes will not be on board. And I'm like, it's not finished yet. It's not finished. Wait a minute. And then when it is finished, oh, okay. Yeah, I get what you were doing.
But throughout this process, there needs to be so much patience.
Yes.
And also like kind of just like, no,
It'll be fine. We'll get there.
The thing is, there's a million things you have to be in control. But we don't do one restaurant at a time. We might have 5 or 6.
Yeah.
All at different stages.
Oh.
So your brain is getting split so many ways, and you have to know the answer to questions, and you're still drawing up a new restaurant or designing a new one, then going to site and managing one that's on site, and it just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
So I think when people, and I think to an extent when I went and studied interior design, because I didn't go back to university until I was 38 to get my degree. Yeah. When
You're doing the maths just in 70.
No. I'm just I'm
53 or 54.
oh my God.
And
was it
You
worth
hadn't
it?
realised it.
Yeah, I hadn't realised what was involved. I thought it was a bit of like painting walls and throwing cushions on sofas, and lucky I did a degree that was really technical, and they pushed us towards commercial.
Yeah.
And then I got with my tutor got me the interview with the company Laura was working at, and then Laura interviewed me, and Yeah, so it was all kind of,
So cool. But because there's so many different like small courses, and then it's just like, cause it's, and then I'm like, okay, I understand structurally there needs to be a schooling behind it, but it's not.
It's a lot. Those little courses. I mean, great if you want to just learn to do stuff at home for yourself and get an understanding of design. But to work on a couple of £1 million project or more, that's a lot of money you're risking of someone else's money. And if you don't know the answers to things, you're putting yourself under a lot of liability there.
Yeah.
So,
I think, you're right. Some of those courses are great for, part-time, doing it at home yourself. And maybe, as we've said before, if someone is in visual, it gives them some kind of playbook to go by and say, okay, well, the fundamentals are, these kind of elements work together, and they can kind of put things together a bit better themselves. But to work in the commercial space, you have to have that proper grounding and training. And in a way, I think your first job in commercial interior design is almost like an apprenticeship. You're given the toilet to design. If you can design a proper toilet, then you can design the next thing out of that. So it's you have to do the basics. You have to learn the basics. You have to understand, because when you go in at the first and your first time on site, it's the most daunting thing ever, because all of these people have been doing it for years, and they're looking to you to answer their questions about how do you want this stud partition wall?
But they're also looking at you to take control.
Yeah,
they will take liberty. That I was going to say. And normally when we go on site, if it's Laura's better, they're too scared to say anything because she's female. Do you know what I mean? And so she'll get away with a lot more. Do you know? And I'll just walk past and whisper something and say, "Bring this up." But sometimes we've been on site and it's been a complete nightmare, and I've lost it. Literally lost it. So we have a pause, say it, and Laura goes, "But you have to, because." Sometimes they take a liberty. Like, we've walked on site before, and there's a cable tray as you walk and nearly hit your head on it as you go.
Yeah.
And it's like, why is that there? That's where we always put it. And I'm like, why? As soon as I walk in the restaurant, all I'm saying is, yes, it needs to be moved. Oh, you can't tell us what to do. He gets into all this kind of... But you have to have the balls to be able to say, you know what? No, you need to move it. This is my design. You need to move it. And so it does sometimes get a bit heated, but you've got to know how to manage it all.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. But then you need to, in the process of you basically kind of have understanding of engineering and understanding of electrical work and the plumbing.
Yeah,
we do all that in our drawings. We do it indicatives, and then we get them looked at and re-signed off by the electrician and the plumber and stuff. But we'll know basically where things have to be. Yeah. But we're not qualified electricians, so we can't. But we'll put it all on there.
You do have to know, if there's an electric cabinet, you can't put the wash up beside it. Things like that. Yeah. Or ceiling heights and, plumbing and where's the drainage and the fire regulations and everything.
Lights, sprinklers and all those kind of things.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Quick questions or to finish it off. What's your favorite furniture item and why?
Mine at the moment, I have this chair that was handmade in Brazil that we got. A supplier was having a showroom sale, and it was not the cheapest, but it sits in the corner of my living room, and it's for looking at, not for sitting on. That's my favorite at the moment. Yeah,
that's what I've already said about my sofa that just nearly breaks my back. But
oh my God.
I love looking at it. It looks like it's come out of an old pyramid or something. It's so ridiculous. It's fantastic. Yeah,
I have so many questions right now. But minimalism or maximalism?
Both.
Yeah, both.
Depends on the design and the environment it's going. I mean, I live in a maximalist house.
Yeah.
But I love minimalism as well. I love brutalism.
Yeah. If your design would be a cocktail, which one would it be?
I said this one, a Negroni.
Oh, yeah, it's a good answer.
Yeah, classic and strong.
Yeah, that's a good answer, Laura. I agree.
Yeah.
It's a great drink as well.
Yeah.
Classic, no nonsense.
We do like a margarita there.
We do like a margarita. We do like something spicy as well.
Oh my God. And one piece of advice that you would give someone who is styling their home?
Do what you like, and also turn off the middle light. Don't have the big light on in your living room.
Oh yeah.
Use lamps, and maybe if the lighting isn't serving a purpose the way it currently is, move the pendant to where you want it to be, or look at your space. if you've got a 3-bed house, but you're not using all 3 bedrooms, you don't have to put a bed in that other room. You can use it as an office, or you can use it as a second living room, or you can use it as something else. Use your space. Think about how you like to live, and live in it that way.
Yeah, don't worry about if you're going to have a guest stay one day.
Yeah.
Who cares about that? I mean, it's you living in the space.
Yeah.
And I think, because I surround myself with things I've collected from all around the world and from antique. If you like it, and display it.
Put everything out.
Have a. Don't put things in cupboards or. Just like surround yourself and mix it all up. Who cares?
Your taste may change, but when you look at a particular thing you got on holidays 20 years ago, it'll make you smile. Have it out. Have it out in the sideboard. It doesn't have to match everything.
But also the things with when you collect pieces like antique or vintage pieces, if you do get to the point where it's no longer for you. You move it on. It doesn't go to a skip like flat packed furniture. You sell it on again and then someone else. It's going through time and history the whole time. And it's getting new memories and connections for other people. So it's the ultimate way of recycling, I think, to pass on things like that.
But I also love how many, sometimes people take like an old thing and then they kind of change a little bit about it, or they...
Upcycle it.
And then it's in like... Some people are more blunt and then they color completely in a different way, which I am not the biggest fan of. But at the same time, like when people kind of also add their own touch and when they do things themselves as well from like...
I think if it's not a valuable piece, then it's okay. I think if it's or a rare piece, I think then I would leave it alone. But, if for a mid-century... like chest of drawers, if it's all the veneers all chipped off it, then why not put some kind of wallpaper on it, or do it up, or paint it? Or
its original purpose. Maybe I've got an old hospital bedside table that is in my living room as a side table, and then it's moved into the kitchen, and it is making its way out to the garden. It is losing its importance in the home, but it's 60 or 70 years old. And it still serves a purpose, but now it's holding the laundry, So it's it doesn't you don't have to use it for its intended purpose. If a cabinet would be better off as a chair, use it as a chair.
So my TV at home, it sits on an old vintage wooden sleigh. So I don't have a TV stand. It just sits on an old sleigh. In the corner of the room.
You're going to have to send pictures of your house.
It's not. None of this is purpose. It's just me. I just buy stuff and I think, what am I going to do with this?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I've got sheds full of stuff I need to get.
This is amazing. Oh, absolutely.
That's how I paid for my university. I used to buy antiques and vintage things from cheap car boot sales and sell at Spitalfields on a Thursday.
Wow. Did they have like a big...
On a Thursday, they have an antique market, It used to be bigger, but now they've got the food thing in the middle. But on Thursdays, it's really good. It's interesting to go to.
Okay.
Yeah.
You should take a look.
Definitely.
That's what I did for 4 years, just on every Thursday,
Because now, there are so many different flea markets and car boot sales that became so popular. I'm just like, I see like them like mushrooms popping up all over the city.
Everywhere. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. People have an appreciation for it now.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing your story. And there are so many interesting insights as well.
Well, thank you
for having us.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, we've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really did enjoy it.
Yeah.
I did. I read all these notes and I just it's just flowed really. So it was good.
Yeah.
Yes. And we went off the tangent as well.
Yeah.
So
That's okay.
yes.
Sorry.
That's what editing is for.
I'm just like, okay, the conversation is going in a different way, so we should follow it.